There's a whole bunch of people who look like they're going to be running for president in this next presidential election. Josh Shapiro's one of them. JB Pritzker is another, governor of Illinois. There's a few. Gavin Newsom very likely is going to throw his hat in the ring. Maybe Pete Buttigieg again. We'll see. But there's a few. But I want to talk about Governor JB Pritzker today. He's a billionaire. He's the heir to the Hyatt hotel chain. I've got my problems with billionaires, even on our side, people who are Democrats, people who support the candidacy of Democrats like Mark Cuban. Generally, I don't think it's great. But when someone makes public statements like JB Pritzker just did the other day, I think it was yesterday, giving his annual budget address to the legislature in Illinois, and he said some amazing things that need to be highlighted. Billionaire aside. And he's talking about the very real threat that Donald Trump poses, and he draws the historic parallels that need to be drawn in this moment. Too many Americans don't have any real understanding of world history, of World War II history, of the absolute mirror images of some of the things that are taking place with the Donald Trump administration and the rise to power of Adolf Hitler. It's not some cute, Godwin's Law or whatever, that if you've lost the argument as soon as you compare someone to Hitler, until it's actual comparisons, until you can really make legitimate parallels between the two, you're not losing the argument here. And that's what he does here. But he also gets to the rhythm and the rhyme of what Donald Trump does, that they're blaming immigrants and all of these other groups that people are afraid of or fear or just bigoted against, whether that be gay people or trans people or brown people or black people or women or whoever. That people like, oh, my life would be markedly improved if all of these people weren't here taking from me. I would finally be successful. I would finally get all the jobs that I would get, that I want, if not for all these people. We can get rid of them and then my life will be better. And he points out that that's just a wildly inaccurate statement, that we'll get rid of all these people, Donald Trump will try, and when they're gone, all your problems remain. It's not them. We need class solidarity in this country, now more than ever. But I want to share with you this very short segment of his speech, a much longer, almost hour-long speech, and really listen to what he's saying. And I hope it sparks in you some kind of motivation to learn about aspects of our history, or teach those around you if you do know those aspects, so people can start waking up to what is taking place. I don't know what the saying is about history doesn't repeat itself, but it certainly rhymes. I think Mark Twain said that. And we are living that right now. Watch Governor JB Pritzker.
I do not invoke the specter of Nazis lightly, but I know the history intimately and have spent more time than probably anyone in this room with people who survived the Holocaust. Here's what I've learned. The root that tears apart your house's foundation begins as a seed of distrust and hate and blame. The seed that grew into a dictatorship in Europe a lifetime ago didn't arrive overnight. It started with everyday Germans mad about inflation and looking for someone to blame. I'm watching with a foreboding dread what is happening in our country right now. A president who watches a plane go down in the Potomac and suggests without facts or findings that a diversity hire is responsible for the crash. Or the Missouri Attorney General who just sued Starbucks, arguing that consumers pay higher prices for their coffee because the baristas are too female and non-white. The authoritarian playbook is laid bare here. They point to a group of people who don't look like you and tell you to blame them for your problems. I just have one question. What comes next? After we've discriminated against, deported, or disparaged all the immigrants and the gay and lesbian and transgender people, the developmentally disabled, the women and the minorities, once we've ostracized our neighbors and betrayed our friends, after that, when the problems we started with are still there staring us in the face, what comes next? All the atrocities of human history lurk in the answer to that question. And if we don't want to repeat history, then for God's sake, in this moment, we better be strong enough to learn from it.
Now, I'm allowing this applause to play for a reason that I'll talk about in the end here. The reason I allowed the applause to play is because this is roundly a shared sentiment of Americans. Largely, Americans are decent people. I like that quote, though. After we've discriminated against, deported, or disparaged all the immigrants, the gay and lesbian and transgender people, the developmentally disabled, the women and the minorities, once we've ostracized our neighbors and betrayed our friends, and those problems are still staring us in the face, what's next? Who then do we demonize? Who then do we oppress? Who then do we abuse? Because when you have an abuser as president of the United States, as the policy setter for the country, and you've got a Republican Party that is complicit in fascism and abuse and oppression, there will just find another group to be victim of that abuse and oppression. It's not that they're going to vanquish their enemies and be done. They'll find new enemies. And we're already seeing this with the Black Trump supporters, or the Latino Trump supporters, or the women Trump supporters, the farmer Trump supporters, the laborer Trump supporters that are now being just, wait, he said no tax on tips. What do you mean it's not in the tax plan? Oh, harumph. You're now a victim of the lies and the abuse and the fecklessness of Donald Trump. What do you think? If you live in Illinois, you should be thankful. My misgivings about this guy being a billionaire aside, you should be thankful that this is your governor. If you live in California, you should be thankful for a guy like Gavin Newsom, for all of his faults, the missteps with how they're treating homeless people in California. You should be thankful that you don't have some kind of a dipshit like there are in so many other red states. Brad Little in Idaho, some of these idiots that are running the states in Louisiana, and Sarah Huckabee fucking Sanders in Arkansas. I mean, it could be worse. Anyway, I invite you to this conversation. What do you think? You can comment below. That'll help the algorithm to share this content with new possible subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We are marching on to whatever the next number is. Just crossed 1 million. Thank you so much. Please consider supporting this work. Click the join button below to become a channel member for $2 a month. You can do just that. You can also go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Follow me after all that on social media. If you like a terrible time on social media, you should be doing something else, read a book or something. But if you're going to be there, I'm there at Dollemore. I'd love to see you. I'll see you next time. Till then, be genuine. Take care of one another.